This week, as Bangladesh and India's foreign ministers met in New Delhi, they were supposed to ink a deal regarding sharing the waters of the Teesta River. It didn't happen. So, why does this matter? Why should you care? Let me begin with 3 key points. 1. The amount of water available from the Teesta fluctuates a lot depending on the season. In April, during the peak flooding season, India releases water from its dams. That's around 8,000 cusics of water. But come January, when Bangladesh needs it most, that drops to just 650 cusics. That's a big difference. 2. For Bangladesh, the Teesta is an economic lifeline. Its waters irrigate around 1 million acres of land, mostly rice fields. This is crucial for feeding the country. In Bangladesh's northern district of Rangpur, for instance, some 1.3 million people depend on the Teesta for irrigation. A little over 1.2 million acres of land are covered by these irrigation canals. In India, about 1.6 million people across North Bengal also rely on these waters. And finally, point 3. Flood control. If India can better predict how much water it will release from its dams, then Bangladesh can better manage its side of the river. Today, though, that's not the case. There's no formal agreement. So these Teesta waters are sort of like a lifeline with loose connections. It's precarious. It's hurting both sides and it's been a headache for decades. But what's the history here? How did things get so complicated? Well, let's take a quick trip back in time. It's 1983. The first Teesta Commission is formed. India and Bangladesh, they want to solve this water dispute once and for all. They keep meeting. They negotiate. They draft. And finally, in 1997, they agree in principle to a draft treaty. It's the Teesta Treaty. But there's still one problem. Both countries cannot ratify it. The treaty never gets formally adopted. The sticking point, they couldn't agree on an allocation formula. See, the Teesta originates in the Indian state of Sikkim. From there it flows into Bangladesh. So India has full control over its upper reaches while Bangladesh has none. Downstream, however, the situation is reversed. Bangladesh has built many infrastructure projects on the river, but India has none. That's why any deal would have to be fair to both sides. Bangladesh wants 40.5% of the water during the lean season and 37.5% for West Bengal. India says that's unfair. Any deal needs approval from the Indian state government, and they say they cannot accept this division of the water. So what exactly is the fuss about? What's in a number? Well, here's why it matters. For the farmers, you see, in the lean season, which is between November and April, farmers need a steady supply of water to grow rice. This is when the water level dips and they depend on irrigation. This year, for instance, India released just 650 cusics of water through the Farakka barrage. Last year it was around 1,000 cusics. But Bangladesh needs at least 1,000 to 100 cusics. The difference is stark. It affects the quality of their harvest. In 2023, rice production fell by 7%. And remember, rice is the staple food of Bangladesh. Farmers who depend on the Teesta are taking a big hit. Their incomes are falling. So is their standard of living. Then you have floods. When India releases excess water from its dams in the rainy season, that often leads to devastating floods in Bangladesh. In May this year, for instance, the Teesta started flowing above the danger level. That's because India had opened the gates of the Teesta barrage in Cooch Behar. This was to drain out excess water. But this decision left hundreds of villages underwater, and there's no warning system in place, so people's homes and crops are often destroyed. That's why an agreement is important. India can warn Bangladesh before releasing excess water and Bangladesh can prepare. Today, they don't even know how much water is being released until it hits their border. So, what's the way forward? Who can break this deadlock? We spoke to 3 stakeholders. All of them have a direct interest in the outcome of these talks. The first is Bangladesh's Irrigation Minister, the Honourable MD, Alimul Haq Khan. He says, "We have our own demand. India also has its own demand. So, we'll sit together and try to find out a solution where both countries will benefit." Now, what does Bangladesh need from this deal? Well, for starters, they want India to improve the hydrological data. Right now there's a dispute. See, The Teesta originates in India and flows into Bangladesh. So, India measures the quantum of water at its border, what it calls the 0 point. But Bangladesh disagrees with these numbers. They want India to measure the quantum of water further upstream. In fact, the Teesta barrage in Cooch Behar, that's what they want to use as the 0 point. Here's what the Bangladeshi minister said. There are also some factual issues regarding the hydrological data and the measurements. That needs to be settled. The 0 point, we think, should be near the barrage area, not at the border. From there, we can calculate the water flow, the total water flow, and there won't be any problem. Once we settle the issue of measurement, we'll be able to share the data, and there won't be any dispute. He also talked about the modalities of data sharing, real-time information, and how that would help both countries. If they release water, we get some time to prepare. If they don't, we can inform them that you haven't released the water as per the schedule. So, everything can be avoided if proper data is exchanged. Our second call was to the Honourable Chandranath Sinha. He is the State Water Resources Minister of West Bengal, and he gave us some insight into India's position. We've got nothing in writing from Bangladesh, so whatever understanding we've reached with them, we cannot commit. At present, the state government has objected to the proposal, and the centre cannot bypass the state. We need the consent of the state government. If a decision is taken in New Delhi, the state government will be consulted. So what does West Bengal object to? Apart from the sharing formula, the state government also disagrees with the location of the Joint River Commission. Under the current proposal, it is to be set up in Bogra in Bangladesh. West Bengal wants it to be located in India. And finally, we spoke to an independent water policy expert, Dr. Jayanta Bandyopadhyay. He was part of the negotiations and helped draft the Teesta Treaty, and he gave us some really interesting insights. The main reason for the delay is the lack of trust. If India shares the data, the Bangladeshi authorities cannot misuse it. They have no capacity to do so. So this notion that they might use it to raise another dispute doesn't hold anymore. Trust me, Bangladesh doesn't have that kind of money. They are far more interested in getting a deal than losing face. So I think it's time to move on and look at data sharing, a well-defined institutional mechanism and a dispute settlement mechanism. What else could be holding things back? Well, for one, India is a federal country. Any water deal impacts multiple stakeholders, the states, the centre, and all of them have to agree. In Bangladesh, the Water Resources Ministry looks after the Teesta, but the Foreign Ministry also plays an important role. Here's what the Foreign Minister of Bangladesh told us last year. I don't think this treaty will be any different from any other treaty. The Foreign Ministry is involved in every treaty. Why shouldn't they be? It's a diplomatic issue. So, you have different ministries involved in the process and they all need to be on the same page. Then you have the geopolitical context. China has built several dams on the Brahmaputra. They are upstream, so India needs to balance those variables too. How much water will be released downstream? How much is lost to evaporation? These are questions that must feature in any deal. Finally, there's also the SAARC factor. India and Bangladesh are members of the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, and the Teesta is a test of sorts, a model, if you will, for other transboundary rivers. The Ganges, for instance, also known as the Padma in Bangladesh, the Yamuna, the Sutlej, the Indus. These rivers crisscross the region. They pass through multiple Indian states and provinces. So if India and Bangladesh can share the waters of the Teesta, other countries can follow suit. The question is, which country will lead the way? Here's what you need to watch out for. The Indian envoy is visiting Dhaka soon. They will review the progress of joint surveys. India has already conducted a hydrological study. Bangladesh has yet to carry out its part. There are reports of a new modelling technology that could be used to calculate the quantum of water. And a lot of this will depend on the upcoming monsoon session of the Indian Parliament. West Bengal has opposed the sharing formula. But what does New Delhi say? Will they push for a deal, or is this a topic best left to the states? Those questions will be answered in the coming months. But the bottom line is clear. The Teesta Treaty is about more than just water sharing. It's a test of regional cooperation. Success here could unlock a new era of South Asian diplomacy. But the clock is ticking. The lives and livelihoods of millions depend on it. Thank you for watching this episode. Like and subscribe to stay up to date with our latest episodes. Comment below. Which stakeholder do you think holds the key to a deal? Your comments shape our next episodes. Don't forget to follow us on social media.